Hello everyone, this is my 7-round NFL mock draft for the San Francisco 49ers using PFF Simulator. Before we begin, one quick thing is I'm a new YouTuber, and anyone out there, if you could help me, I just really appreciate leaving a comment, any advice or tips that you have for me. I've only done a couple of videos and been doing this for a couple of days. So I'd really appreciate any help that you could give me. Okay, now moving on to this draft, the theme here for the 49ers was I really wanted to come away with some wide receiver weapons for Jimmy Garoppolo. And then also I wanted to maintain that secondary and maintain that excellence that they had last year. Because if you remember 2 years ago, that secondary really didn't perform all that well. Of course, Richard Sherman this previous year played at an extremely high level, very elite, very, very good. But 2 years ago, the overall secondary unit wasn't really fantastic and it was kind of below average. So I wanted to, in this draft, those were the two main things that I was looking to address. So moving on to the first selection at 13 overall, I took Henry Ruggs III, wide receiver, University of Alabama. And why I really like him here for the 49ers is he gives that offense something different, something that they don't have right now. Deebo Samuel is a fantastic player in that he's very versatile. He can run sweeps, he can do slants, he can even do some fades down the field. He can do a lot of different things. But what Ruggs is going to bring to the table for the 49ers is amazing deep speed. He's really going to stretch that field for that offense, and he's going to a certain degree, open up the middle of the field. Not like George Kittle really needs the help because he's amazing already, but with Ruggs there, it's going to help Deebo Samuel. It's going to help that run game a ton because now they're not going to be able to crowd the box so much, put 8 in the box to try and stop that amazing run game that San Francisco has. Now they're really going to have to respect the deep threat, and Ruggs was just amazing. He just consistently got down the field, made big plays, touchdowns galore. So I love that for the 49ers with the first pick. With the 31st pick, you see I did a trade. I'm going to address that at the end of this video. So I just want to go to the player that I selected next at 45, Bryce Hall, cornerback, University of Virginia. Here is another player that I think really fits in very well for the 49ers because of that kind of cover 3 press man coverage scheme that they have there. Bryce Hall, he fits that to a T. He has really long arms and he's really smart, really instinctual, and I think he's going to be a complement to Richard Sherman in the short term, and eventually he's a player that I really believe in who could replace Sherman to a certain degree. I'm not saying that he's going to get to Sherman's level because Richard Sherman, of course, is, a Hall of Fame caliber type of cornerback, and to expect that from any rookie, any player that hasn't even played a down in the NFL yet is really asking a lot of them and expecting a lot. But Bryce Hall, I think, will more than adequately improve that secondary and really help add a lot of depth to the cornerback position for the 49ers. Moving on, at 76, I took KJ Hill, wide receiver, Ohio State University. Again, here I wanted to address the wide receiving core. Emmanuel Sanders was traded for in the kind of the middle of the season last year, and he really gave a boost to that offense, really helped Jimmy Garoppolo a lot, and sort of also helped to open up the run game a bit more. So right now, I only really see the 49ers as having one really good wide receiver, and that's, of course, Deebo Samuel, with getting Ruggs with their first selection, and then KJ Hill. I think that's going to make it's going to improve that unit by a lot. What I like about Hill specifically is that he's very good at running routes. He doesn't have amazing speed, but he's just a really good route runner. And then coming from Ohio State in practices, he went against a lot of press man coverage. So he has experience getting off the line against press man, and that's another benefit that he brings to the table. The last three players, I just want to talk about them as a group. The first guy at 156 is Shadiq Charles, I believe is his how to pronounce his name, tackle, LSU. Then Javaris Davis, cornerback, Auburn University, and then finally at 245, Jonathan Garvin, Edge, University of Miami. In total, I wanted to address tackle at least somewhat in this draft. At 76, where I selected KJ Hill, I could have taken a tackle there, but if I remember correctly, there wasn't a player on the board that I felt justified the 76th selection. The talent wasn't quite there to take a tackle, so I took one at 156 instead. This guy, hopefully he can add some depth, but you're really not going to expect him to do much more than that. Javaris Davis, he's a slot. He's really short. He's a slot cornerback. I don't think he really... I'm not sure how well the scheme fit is with him, but he adds more depth and adds a lot of competition to that group. And then finally, Jonathan Garvin. I just like him quite a bit. I think he's like maybe a top 140 or a top 150 player. So to get him at like 245 is amazing value. He's going to help maintain that strength of edge rushers that the 49ers have right now, because last year, as you may very well know, they were very healthy last year. They didn't really have, Dee Ford was banged up a little bit, but Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa both were really healthy throughout the year. You can't really expect that year to year, where all of your good pass rushers stay healthy throughout the year. So this guy brings some competition and can at least fill in a little bit to maintain that excellent pass rush that the 49ers have. Finally, the trade that I did, I traded back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I went from 31 to 45 overall, and in doing so, gained the 76th selection, and I threw back Tampa Bay's way the 210th and 217th selection. That might have been a little bit more than I needed to give up. I try to make these trades as realistic as possible, and what I noticed with the simulator is that too often for my taste, it will give me a trade that's too favored for the team trading back. When you look historically at the actual trades that happen, if you're not trading up into like the top 10 or top 5, if the team is not trading up for a quarterback, they really don't give up a ton of picks very often. So I tried to make this realistic. I might have given up a little bit too much, maybe one more pick than I really needed to, but overall I think it's realistic essentially. Okay, so thank you very much if you made it the whole way through. To summarize, this draft would really help out the 49ers, and I think it would give them a really great chance to actually win the Super Bowl next year, because Ruggs is going to add a dynamic element. Bryce Hall, even though he's coming off an injury, is going to solidify that secondary, give them a lot of depth that they need, and then the rest of the players are going to just push and battle and improve that roster. Okay, well, thank you very much. You have a great day. Bye.